Hello. Hi. George here. I'm in my coffee shop again with a coffee bean, right? Right? But outside here in what's this place? Well, just outside Capitolium. It's Capitol Commons. It's a it's like a new, like a strip mall, a lot of condos here. And anyway, I haven't made a video for some time. So what am I going to talk about? Well, in the last time, well, a few months ago, I was really into this liturgy of the hours, exploring that, and I discovered it more and more, and I kind of like it. But I discovered there were many versions. The current one that is being used by the church is sort of like an easier version, if you like. I mean, it looks like an easier or a lighter version than the one that was used hundreds of years ago. There are fewer hours that you need to do, and some of them have been combined. But I kind of like the original concept of the Liturgy of the Hours, or the Divine Office, which was basically that you'd pray. Oh, so it was a way of praying constantly. Now, how would they do this? Well, they would pray every 3 hours, basically. So there would be matins, which is, or matins, or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it, at midnight. Then the Lauds at 3 a.m. At 6 a.m. would be prime. Then terce at 9 a.m. Sext at Sext at 12 p.m. and noon at 3 p.m. Vespers at 6 p.m. and Compline at 9 p.m. And that'll be basically 8 hours, 8 times a day, every 3 hours, more or less. And generally that follows what it says in the Psalms. 7 times a day I shall give forth my praise to you, O Lord. And at the same time rising up at midnight. There you go, 7 plus 1. Really, I thought it was pretty cool. Of course, it's difficult to do all the hours, right? Especially if you're working. If you're a monk, you do it full time, and that's in fact what they do. At least they used to. Now it's something whittled down. Now, all right. So what is the one that is not whittled down? Is something called the version that came out of the Council of Trent. All right, 1570. And I want to show you this, and I'll show you bits and pieces of it in a cut-off video. But basically, this is the full version with all these hours I mentioned. Now, the newer version has an office of readings, which could be done anytime during the day, and I think they have Lauds and Vespers as the main hours, and they have 3 hours: the terce, sext, and noon. Right, during the day, which are but the main hours being, so you can see how it's sort of like a divine office light. And some of the psalms are not included. There's some of the psalms that are called the imprecatory psalms, because there seems to be somewhat an angry side, talking about the enemies of God. And well, there you are. You see. So those are not included. So I prefer the original version. And somehow the Council of Trent. Oh, sorry about that. It's a bit of noise, interference. The Council of Trent has sort of like a wall, if you like. It's a standard way of actually keeping the faith in a time when the Protestants were just coming out. And of course they had the Catechism of the Council of Trent, which was the basic defense against what the Protestants like to call the Reformation. And it was actually a very definitive catechism, which was used for hundreds of years. Of course, there's a new catechism now, which has come out of the results of the Second Vatican Council, which has some which are some doctrines which are somewhat suspect, Of course, we have to be obeying the authority of the church, but they haven't actually uh, anathemized the Catechism, the Council of Trent. So I'm tending to retreat into something that is basically a better accepted and well known, and I sort of retreat into the Catechism of Trent. Although I have read the new Catechism that's come out in recently from the Catholic Church, the Green Book, and okay, but I'm also using the Liturgy of the Hours from Trent, which is now you can't get it. You can't buy these anymore. So there's an online app called Brev Meum, which does the Latin version of the Liturgy of the Hours, but you have an older versions of them too. Some of them were the pre-Trent versions, but the ones from Trent. The ones from Trent are nice because the daytime hours are somewhat they go through that long Psalm 118, and with the night hours, that's when they recite most of the Psalms. The idea is to recite all of the Psalms. I don't know, all of them in a week or something like that. And you also pray, and they commemorate the feast days. And the Liturgy of the Hours is like a jewel that surrounds the main and highest prayer, which is the Mass. And you have daily Mass, and surrounding the Mass is the Liturgy of the Hours. And the Liturgy of the Hours is orchestrated by the universe itself, because every time, as the time moves on, as dictated by the heavens, you pray at certain hours. And that's a way of glorifying God constantly, at the same time going about your business between those set hours. So I would explore what came out of the Council of Trent. I find it actually more uplifting, personally. And like anything else in this type, it's not something that you would simply just describe, but invite you to experience. Read the Council of Trent, the Catechism, and try the Liturgy of the Hours or the Divine Office as it come out of the Council of Trent. This was the same Liturgy of the Hours that many of our saints would have prayed those many hundreds of years ago. All right, this is George opening that invitation to you to explore. It may be a blessed time and a blessed experience for you as it is for me. George, signing out. Prepare for departure. Bye.